Memorial Weekend, 1981, we relocated from Imperial Beach, California to Mesa, Arizona. The shine of California had worn off, and I had the opportunity to transfer with my company, Tektronix. The only thing I really knew about Arizona was from my aunt's Arizona Highways magazines when I was a kid and visited her. Once I settled in Imperial Beach after the Navy, when I had to drive back to Texas, I would always leave San Diego right after dark to drive across Arizona overnight because I had no air conditioner. When the opening came up in Phoenix, Linda went to the library and brought home all the books she could find on Arizona. Boy, was I ignorant about all of Arizona. I had a lot to learn. One book that really opened my eyes was John Wesley Powell's historic trips down the Colorado River in 1869. They were so little known, they packed to spend the winter when the river froze over. We now know that never happens. All of my associates at work made numerous suggestions of things to see in Arizona, but most of all, a trip to Payson came highly recommended. This map shows the route we took on our trip. I was not able to show it to the North Kaibab Lodge due to the Dragon Bravo fire that has already burned 134,000 acres and is only 36% contained. As you may be aware, the North Kaibab Lodge, surrounding buildings and cabins burned to the ground. It may be 2 to 3 years before it will open again. Our total mileage on the trip exceeded well over 1,200 miles. As a field service technician for Tektronix, my job required going to the customer site in all of Arizona. So after 5 years, I had a pretty good clue what I wanted to see, and our 10th anniversary in 1986 would be the perfect time to explore with the family. Our 1985 Land Cruiser was a year old, and I needed a tent for the family to sleep in. Popular Surplus had the one I wanted. It was capable of a vestibule, an add-on for storing stuff. However, it had to be ordered. The manager assured me it would be in time for our vacation. Well, it didn't make it. So the manager asked me what he could do to make it up. We needed a good cooler, so I picked out an 80-quart Coleman steel-belted cooler. He didn't even flinch. I still have it now, 39 years later. First, we traveled to the southeastern part of the state to the Chiricahua Mountains to see the balanced rocks in the Chiricahua National Monument. We took a hike and saw some incredible formations left over from a volcano that erupted many years ago. The Chiricahua Mountains and several southern Arizona mountains are known as desert sky islands. Chiricahua Peak is 9,759 feet, 6,000 feet higher than the surrounding desert. In spite of being tired on the first day on the road, packing, unpacking, etc., nobody slept in. Why? Because we were awakened by Mexican blue jays, and there is no ignoring them. Chiricahua National Monument has over 17 miles of hiking trails, from easy to difficult. You can also drive the 8-mile paved road to the top of Maisai Point, Echo Canyon, and Sugarloaf. The campground requires reservations, and if you plan on bringing a camper, there is a length limit. Check the website before going. The reason is due to a large dip which prevents vehicles from entering without damage. Be prepared for dark skies and wonderful stargazing as you are far away from anything. As a matter of fact, the ranch that was established here in 1887 was named Faraway Ranch by the wife because it was far away from everything. Southern Arizona was home to the Chiricahua Apaches, and Cochise was one of the well-known members. He and his band traveled all over this country raiding homesteads and causing problems for the U.S. Army. The following picture of a mountain, some say looks like Cochise laying on his back looking up at the sky. With binoculars, you can see a 100-foot tall pine tree as his eyelash. Our next stop was another sky island, Mount Graham, located outside Safford. It wasn't all that far from the Chiricahua National Monument, but at 10,720 feet, Mount Graham dominates the skyline. Closed to vehicles November 15th through April 15th due to winter snows, it has a University of Arizona observatory built on top. When the June temperatures in Phoenix are hitting the 110 plus mark, it's a perfect 75 at the lake. Nights are nice and crisp. This winding road climbs more than 7,000 feet over 35 miles, skirting the slopes of the Pinalero Mountains and offering incredible vistas of the surrounding landscape. The first 22 miles are paved, the last 13 miles are dirt. High clearance recommended on dirt. Drive with caution, the road is steep and narrow with many switchbacks. Riggs Flat Lake was located at 8,600 feet elevation, and it was the place where we got the best use of the canoe. The girls were not looking forward to the ride back down the mountain after the drive up, and this was the first camp we had made in Arizona where there were bear-proof trash cans and a lot of warnings about bears. Well, we had no fear because we brought along our vicious guard dog, Ginger, with us. After the ride back down the mountain to Safford, it was time to hit the laundry. Our next destination was the Painted Desert and Petrified National Forest, now a monument in northern Arizona. The shortest route was up the Devil's Highway 666, 137 miles, 3 hours and 10 minutes, with lots of 10 and 15 mile per hour corners and turns, and no services the whole route. Another customer at the laundry recommended we go into New Mexico and take 180 north, then over to Alpine. That was 2 hours and 41 minutes, 141 miles, and much straighter. That worked out much better, and the girls did not get car sick. Our next stop was at Lee's Ferry on the mighty Colorado River, just to see what it was like. From there, we drove to the top of the North Kaibab and found a nice campsite. At 8,000 feet, the weather was perfect. We even had a doe mule deer walking through our camp, but our vicious Ginger kept us safe. Then we made all the viewpoints we could, including the long drive out to Cape Royal and Angel's Window, which Linda and I had visited 10 years prior on our honeymoon. In 1986, Firewatch tires were still manned, and we got to go up in one. I took a picture of nothing but miles and miles of Douglas fir, spruce, aspen, and ponderosa. Sadly, the Dragon Bravo fire has burned most of the forest east of Highway 67 from the park to the northern edge where it ran out of fuel. People were always surprised to see the alpine meadows as they head into the park. You would not know you were in Arizona, the state known for extreme heat. I'm so glad that my family got to experience it before the disaster. It will not be the same in their lifetime or the next generation. However, fire cannot destroy the Grand Canyon, but monsoons, flash floods, and debris flows will change the river in the bottom for the future. For our last night there, we were going to eat at the famous North Kaibab Lodge. We planned on arriving early, hoping for a good seat to view the canyon from. We arrived 15 to 20 minutes early, and there were 2 people ahead of us. Great. Just a couple of minutes before the door opened, several of their friends showed up. However, we were seated at a window overlooking the Grand Canyon, and it was the perfect end to a wonderful vacation. Now, just enjoy some of the pictures of the canyon.